Due to what you have done recently, the company's stock price has fallen sharply. The board of directors has unanimously decided to dismiss all your positions in Boiwan Technology. All the assets in your name, after the court's judgment, will also be sealed up in the near future. Liu Cheng, you are out. Late autumn. On the cold street, the drizzle was slightly cold. Liu Cheng sat down on a wooden chair with a bit of bitterness at the corner of his mouth. He never thought that the company he founded would eventually kick himself out of the game. It's still too naive. Liu Cheng lowered his head feebly, letting the rain soak through his black suit. Thinking back to the past, mixed feelings. Started a business at the age of 20, developed an instant translation software in just 1 year, and successfully went public in just 3 years, with a market value of nearly tens of billions. However, overnight, he went from an upstart in the industry to a complete loser. This kind of blow is not a big deal. What makes Liu Cheng even more chilling is that it is his partner and alumnus Dongming Cheng who betrayed him. The latter tricked him into signing a gambling agreement without any precautions. Then, he designed a fairy jump to frame him, which made him discredited. The board of directors of the company took this opportunity to clear him out 1 month after the company went public. The treacherous business circles make him hard to guard against. Then he realized that technology alone is not enough to run a company well. It's just that it's too late. Cheng Liu doesn't care about the lost assets, but the lost opportunity. He originally wanted to use this listing to invest in research in the biological field. But now that he is kicked out, this opportunity will never happen again. Want to start again? How easy is it to say? Hey! Thinking of this, Liu Cheng sighed again. The damp raindrops hit the ground, causing ripples. Liu Cheng looked at the ripples on the ground, and his thoughts had already flown beyond the clouds. Suddenly, an umbrella covered his body, casting a shadow. Liu Cheng slowly raised his head and looked forward. A girl who looks like 17 or 18 years old is holding an umbrella and looking at him blankly. The girl has short hair with equal ears, a tall nose, and a small cherry mouth, with a somewhat mixed smell. Maybe it was because she hadn't been out for a long time, her skin showed an unhealthy paleness. She is wearing a white t-shirt on her upper body, her breast is not too big, but she has a full grip. Wore a pair of jeans on her lower body, but it was empty under her thighs. She is sitting in a wheelchair, her body is even thinner. Liu Cheng looked at the girl in front of him, and said bitterly, "Xie, why are you coming down?" The girl is called Lin Xie, the daughter of his late mentor. Lin Xie pursed her lips, her voice is a little cold. "How long will you sit here?" Liu Cheng was speechless, and after a moment of silence, he said, "I'm broke. I watched the news." Lin Xie's tone remained unchanged. Liu Cheng explained, "Dongming Cheng arranged the fairy dance, I didn't do anything." "You don't need to explain to me." Lin Xie's tone was calm and added, "I know you don't know how to do this kind of thing." Liu Cheng gave a wry smile, "I feel better after hearing your comfort." Paused, he sighed, "However, Xie, I might break my promise." At the beginning, he promised Lin Xie that before she was 22 years old, at all costs, he would develop a biological medicine that could restore her legs. For this reason, he will start a company and do his best to get the company listed. But now, everything is in vain. Lin Xie's expression remained unchanged. "You don't have to blame yourself, I never thought you could succeed. Even if you are not bankrupt, with the current level of scientific research, wanting to heal my legs in 5 years is just a fantasy." Liu Cheng moaned his lips a few times, but did not speak to argue. He also knows that this is an almost impossible thing to accomplish. But if he doesn't try, he is always unwilling. After all, Lin Xie has become like this, and he also has to bear half of the responsibility. Back then, if the tutor hadn't rushed to participate in his graduation defense, there would be no car accident. For this, Liu Cheng has always been very guilty. Because his mentor Lin Wen has been supporting him since he was in the orphanage until the university. Without Lin Wen, his life might be different. Liu Cheng has regarded Lin Wen as his half-father. Thinking of this, Liu Cheng stood up and looked at Lin Xier. No matter what, I will continue to try. Dongming Cheng can beat me once, and will never beat me a second time. He is not a person who gives up lightly. Otherwise, it is impossible for the company to be listed successfully in just 3 years. With Lin Xier's comfort, he quickly adjusted his emotions and cheered up again. Just as Liu Cheng finished saying this, 2 lines of prompt popped up in front of his eyes. Detected that the host assets are cleared, activate the black technology system, start to introduce related information next moment. Liu Cheng only felt a huge flow of information flooding his mind. Immediately, there was a flash of light and shadow, and he seemed to have come to an illusory space. This space is made up of countless 0 and 1 binary, forming a blue line, full of high-tech colors. These blue lines converge into a high-tech picture. Space-time battleships, Zingai spaceships, Gundam mechas, space jumpers, quantum portals, all over them, like dreams and illusions. Soon, these binary images disappeared like phantoms. Liu Cheng recovered and found that he was still standing in place. Only at this moment, there is one more thing in his mind. Black Technology System. The so-called Black Technology System is a treasure left by the joint efforts of the last cosmic civilization. Can take people into the world with black technology. As long as you complete the tasks released by the system, you can get a black technology and bring it back to reality. And, the higher the task evaluation, the more generous the rewards. Liu Cheng browsed the introduction of the black technology system, and couldn't help clenching his fists. 23 years, the plugin finally arrived. Actually, Liu Cheng is not a person in this world, but came from the earth. The background of this world is the same as that of the earth, with bat and familiar songs. There are even stars who like to do multiplayer sports. However, the technology in this world is extremely poor. There is no trace of all kinds of science fiction movies, TV series, and even novels that are well known on the earth. Mankind's practice of science and technology has only stayed in the aviation stage. 20 years ago, Huaxia launched its first artificial satellite. 10 years ago, Eagle Country completed the moon landing and shocked the world. In terms of technology alone, the world is really lifeless and ordinary. Think of all this. Liu Cheng became more excited. If the black technology in science fiction movies, TV series, cartoons, and novels can really be brought back to reality, what changes will it bring to the world? Perhaps, Lin Xier's legs can be cured in less than 5 years, right? This is much better than some systems that sign in for a building and add money when you breathe. Ha ha, ha ha ha. Liu Cheng stood there and smiled involuntarily. What are you laughing at? Lin Xier frowned, somewhat inexplicably. I remembered something happy. Liu Cheng slowly reduced his smile. He really didn't expect that this black technology would only activate when his assets were cleared. Is it true that only Kyubi is worthy of owning a system? You are so handsome and talented like yourself, there is no way to get pampered by the system at all? However, the system didn't tell me when I could traverse. It seems that I can only wait slowly. How long will you stay here? Lin Xier directly interrupted Liu Cheng's conjecture. Liu Cheng recovered, walked behind Lin Xier and helped her push her wheelchair. I am now homeless, so I can only go to your home to board. Lin Xier and Dai's eyebrows frowned. Won't you live in a hotel? Liu Cheng spreads both hands. Hey, I have no job and no income. I have to increase income and reduce expenditure. It is a waste of money to stay in a hotel. Don't worry, I sleep on the sofa and I will never sleep with you in the same bed. Lin Xier's face is reddish. Who wants to sleep in the same bed with you? Liu Cheng smiled and said, so, do you agree? Lin Xier pursed his lips, the house is so big, you don't need to sleep on the sofa. Liu Cheng smiled. He understands Lin Xier's character, so he is a little arrogant. Since the amputation, his personality has become more withdrawn, never willing to express his thoughts, and always live in his own world. Except for Liu Cheng, she hardly talked to anyone. Now that she can say this, it is quite difficult. Liu Cheng didn't say much, and pushed Lin Xier into the community. This Guanzhong community can be regarded as a high-end community in Modu. In order to let Lin Xier get in touch with the world, Liu Cheng deliberately spent tens of millions of dollars to buy a villa. Entered the villa, which was decorated in an ancient style, with various famous paintings on the walls. Of course, they are all imitations. Lin Xier likes to paint, so Liu Cheng buys some famous paintings to mount on the wall. Reading www.yuyuganshu.com can also make the villa look more than monotonous. Otherwise, if Lin Xier were to rely on Lin Xier to design, she would say that only a bed and a computer would do. Liu Cheng lowered his head and glanced at Lin Xier, his clothes were all wet, and the spring light inside was vaguely visible. Xiaonazai has grown up. Liu Cheng said, the clothes are all wet. Go and change your clothes. Don't catch a cold. Don't worry about it, I will take care of myself. Lin Xier tightened her body and pushed the wheelchair back to the room by herself. Liu Cheng shouted, do you want to take a shower? I will wash it if you don't wash it. It was soaked in the rain, and he felt more uncomfortable. No respond. Liu Cheng shrugged, but didn't care, walked straight into the bathroom, and began to take a shower. In the bathroom clothes basket, there are Lin Xier's clothes, as well as underwear and underwear, which I don't know for a few days. Liu Cheng once thought about finding a nanny for Lin Xier, but Lin Xier refused directly, and had a big temper, so this matter would not stop. He knew that Lin Xier was sensitive and suspicious, and didn't want to be treated as an alien. Xier, your cutie pile is going to get moldy here, do you want me to wash it for you? Liu Cheng teased. Don't stimulate Lin Xier like this, God knows how long it will take her to wash. There is only Natasha here, but there is no Xier. Outside the bathroom, a soft female voice sounded. Hearing this voice, Liu Cheng was slightly startled. This is definitely not Lin Xier's voice, is there anyone else in the villa? P.S. After half a year, start over, new book set off, please collect recommendation tickets. What's the situation, did Xier have a girlfriend? Liu Cheng was a little puzzled. However, he is more worried. He didn't want Lin Xier to make friends casually, and then he was cheated. A beautiful girl like Lin Xier who lacks love in her heart can easily be taken advantage of by a liar. Thought of this. Liu Cheng rushed casually, put on his bathrobe, and walked out. However, as soon as he walked out of the bathroom, he was stunned. Motherfucker! Liu Cheng looked at the scene outside the bathroom and changed to Ziyuan in seconds. Outside the bathroom, there is a bedroom that looks fairly clean. The bedroom is about 30 square meters, which is quite spacious. There is a big bed in the center. Of course, what attracted Liu Cheng's attention was not the big bed, but the blonde foreign girl lying on the bed. This foreign girl is wearing a lace, ching, nei dress, her fart, pi, is upright, and the car, che, lights are dazzling. She has a beautiful face, especially her enchanting fox eyes, which is very powerful. Hey? Wait, why does this girl look so familiar? Liu Cheng was a little confused. He looked at this girl carefully, and finally found out, isn't this girl the Hollywood actress Scarlett? Successfully traversed and began to match the identity information of the characters. Match successfully. Start publishing. Main mission host, please become a new agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. within 3 months. Note, the host dies in this world, the body will not be affected, only the mission will be deemed failed. Please be bold, the host, there is no complete criminal law. Just when Liu Cheng recognized Scarlet, a line of prompts popped up in front of him. Immediately, a flood of information flooded his mind instantly. Liu Cheng shook his mind, and soon understood what was going on. It turned out that the black technology system took itself through when taking a bath. There is really no defense at all, and no worries. The most important thing is that this is not another place, but the Marvel world. That's right, heroes and villains run everywhere, and common people can only watch a lively and simple world. I am so immortal, my identity in this world is still a logistic reserve of SHIELD. Bureau. Specializes in investigating and handling various cases that endanger national security. This identity has another lofty name: cannon fodder. SHIELD. Bureau distributes pensions to more than a dozen logistics reserve families every year. One can imagine how high this casualty rate is. It's a pity that he is still an orphan in this world. If he dies, not only will he have no pension, but even his organs will have to be handed over to the state. Evil capitalism. Liu Cheng said silently in his heart. Fortunately, there is systematic protection. If you die in the mission world, it will only determine that the mission has failed, and it will not affect the real world. However, Liu Cheng saw this main mission and was completely unhappy. Becoming a new agent of SHIELD within 3 months is an impossible task. You need to know that it takes at least 3 years for the logistics reserve to become regular. This is still relevant. What's more, he is still of Chinese descent, and it is even more difficult to become an agent of SHIELD. Everyone knows that Lau Mei's prejudice against Chinese Americans is not so big. In American dramas, if the characters are dead, they usually die first of blacks, and then die of Chinese. However, the director of SHI. All the prejudices naturally transferred to the Chinese. It's difficult to start the hell, and I'm given a quest. How about being friendly to the novice? Liu Cheng wants to sing coolness to himself. He doesn't want the director of the Universe Family Planning Commission to let himself go home with a snap of his fingers. Can the mission world be changed? Liu Cheng asked in his heart. I think some of the high-tech in H. Manly is actually pretty good. Cannot be changed. The short 4 words, the system's high-cold personality is fully revealed. Cheng Liu is very sorry, it seems that there is no room for bargaining. Hey, first thought of me as another woman, and now I'm swearing right after taking a shower, it seems you don't welcome me. The foreign girl was lying on the bed, her electric eyes staring at Liu Cheng. Liu Cheng then came back to his senses. Although the foreign girl speaks English, he still understands it. Also, if he speaks Chinese, it will be automatically converted into English. Don't ask, ask is the system is awesome. Liu Cheng looked at the foreign girl in front of him. Oh, no, it should be called Natasha, Black Widow, or Widow now. This is a famous character in the Marvel Universe. Marvel's first sociable flower, super royal sister, conqueror of the Hulk. Similarly, he is also an important super agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. The reason why the Black Widow appeared in Liu Cheng's room was also a coincidence. The two met in a bar. It happened that the Black Widow was upset, drank a few glasses, and then was molested by a few short-eyed gangsters. Liu Cheng made a decisive move and taught the gangsters a lesson. Then he got the favor of the Black Widow, and then he came to the apartment and prepared to let himself go. Okay, it's mainly because Liu Cheng is handsome, plus a 3-inch tongue, which coaxed the Black Widow into the apartment. It's really God's help. The Black Widow has a certain status in S.H.I.E.L.D. As long as she can sleep in her sleep clothes, she may be able to take the lead. Liu Cheng said that relying on his own labor to get the top position is not at all embarrassing. Thinking of this, he looked at the Black Widow on the bed, with a hint of apology. Sorry, I just drank a little wine and saw a stunner like you again, so I couldn't hold back the excitement in my heart. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. You are so beautiful, surely you will forgive my gaffe. Black Widow is also an experienced veteran after all, she smiled charmingly after hearing this. A stunner is lying on your bed, are you going to keep watching? Liu Cheng directly took off the bathrobe, revealing his strong muscles. Fortunately, he has always exercised, otherwise it would be shameful to take off his clothes and reveal an abdominal muscle. Liu Cheng reached out and touched the Black Widow with an experienced touch. Fu. As soon as he touched the Black Widow, rows of messages popped up in front of him. Discover available abilities: Pistol Mastery, proficient in military auxiliary equipment; Fighting Mastery, proficient in disguise and stealth; Defense proficiency; Language proficiency. Liu Cheng looked at the dense power in front of him, and couldn't help taking a breath. Deserves to be the ace agent of SHIELD, the ability of this body is almost as if it is turned on. But, in the next second, it will be mine. The Black Technology System has an additional ability in order to allow Liu Cheng to complete the task better. Is that after touching a character in the plot, there is a certain chance that he or she can randomly obtain the same ability in him, her. However, the disadvantage is that it only works in this world. After leaving the world, the ability will disappear. Rao is so, it can also help Liu Cheng a lot. In this dangerous world, there is no one or two life-saving abilities, it is impossible to mix. Take it. Liu Cheng said silently. Soon, the icons on the field of vision flashed quickly, and finally fixed on one of the abilities. Fighting Mastery. The icon turns, and finally freezes on this ability. At the same time, a flow of information and a flow of biology simultaneously acted on Liu Cheng's body. Liu Cheng only felt that he had mastered all kinds of fighting skills such as karate, jeet kune do, jun ti chuan, wing chun, etc. in an instant. Also, the muscle cells have been strengthened, so you can make all kinds of difficult fighting moves. Feeling the changes in his body, Liu Cheng's expression was excited. Is this the breath of a strong man? He wanted to shout, I want to hit 10. However, looking at the Black Widow on the side, he said that only one shot would be enough tonight. Baby, you are so sexy. Liu Cheng looked at Natasha. You stood up to me. Natasha pressed her red lips. You open the door and let me in. Hey? Your muscles seem to be hardened. I have more beep somewhere. The two had a friendly and frank exchange. Officially started the cooperation. As the saying goes, a lone boat falls on the beach, and there is no water to advance and retreat, and the rivers and lakes are full when the rain is full, so you don't have to work hard to pay it back. The ancients are sincere not to deceive me. The Black Widow does not look like an old woman after a century. Rao is that Liu Cheng has just been remodeled, and he also said that his waist can't stand it. It is conceivable that for 3 months to become a new agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Liu Cheng can only perform strong manual labor. He felt that if this video was posted on the internet, it would be full of tears. May I ask, who can be Chijiro for work? After the cloud and rain. Liu Cheng leaned against the head of the bed, trying to smoke a cigarette to squeeze it down. Just realized that he doesn't seem to smoke. The widow sister leaned aside, lit a lady's cigarette, and started smoking in satisfaction. Unexpectedly, you Chinese are also quite good in this aspect. The widow sister exclaimed. Can be praised by the Black Widow, one can imagine how much Liu Cheng paid. I'm the exception. Liu Cheng said. I have to say that foreigners do have an advantage in this regard. Research shows that the average length of Chinese is 11-16 cm. Europeans are 14-18 cm. The most pitiful is the country of sticks, only 9 centimeters. This is also one of the reasons why so many girls are easy girl Europeans. Black Widow smiled, suddenly leaned over, leaned in Liu Cheng's ear, and said, You know who I am, and you still approach me so hard, come on, what do you want me to do for you? Liu Cheng spread his hands and looked innocent. Natasha, you are so beautiful, why do you think I have another picture? Black Widow smiled charmingly, I can feel that when we are communicating, your body does not fit me very well, which means that you are not just for dating me. Cheng Lu. God. Deserves to be the ace agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Is really unpredictable. Originally, Lu Cheng planned to ask a question euphemistically, but now it seems that it can only be a showdown. He looked at the Black Widow, and said sincerely, "You know, I joined the National Land Strategic Defense Attack and Logistics Support Bureau, as a logistics reserve, just to become an agent one day. I want to dedicate my heart to the country, but I have nothing to do with my identity, so I can only rely on some external forces. Natasha, you have an extraordinary identity inside, so I thought maybe you could help me." S.H.I.E.L.D. has not changed its name yet, and it sounds very confusing. Black Widow heard Lu Cheng's words, her eyebrows were raised slightly, and she rubbed her eyebrows. This is a bit difficult. In fact, despite her special status, she has no right to decide in S.H.I.E.L.D. Bureau. Especially letting a Chinese as an agent. This is in the game, there is no precedent at all. However, thinking that Lu Cheng worked so hard just now, she couldn't refuse directly. "Are you embarrassed?" Lu Cheng looked at the Black Widow's expression, and knew that it was difficult to do. The Black Widow shrugged, "To be honest, it's a bit difficult to get Nixon's mouth." When Lu Cheng heard this, his eyes flickered. He knew that the nick in the mouth of the Black Widow was the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., Nick Fury. A bald-headed cyclops. However, if the Black Widow said so, there must be some drama. Lu Cheng did not say a word, and waited for the following. As expected, the Black Widow thought for a while, and then said, "However, if you can solve 3 major cases within half a year, maybe I can ask Nick for advice and get you to get a positive." She felt that this difficulty was beyond normal. Even if it was her, she might not be able to do it. Not to mention a small logistics reserve member. She said this, just to make Lu Cheng retreat in the face of difficulties, without destroying the pure relationship between them. When Lu Cheng heard this, he moved his mind and quickly nodded and said, "Okay, I promised you, and it won't take half a year, just 3 months. Within 3 months, if I have not solved 3 major cases, I will voluntarily resign. Anyway, the system stipulates that you will become a new agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. within 3 months. If you can't complete it, you will have to return forcibly. There is no need to extend the time to half a year. It's not bad to pretend to be a force in front of the Black Widow, maybe she can get her extra help later." The Black Widow frowned when she heard this. "Are you sure? Being strong is not a good habit." Lu Cheng nodded seriously, "I'm sure. You can use the set of inspection methods just now to test me again. I promise that this time I will definitely fit you 100%. Black Widow laughed, "Well, if you can really solve 3 big cases in 3 months, even if I put a gun on Nick's head, you reading www.yuyugonshu.com will make you straighten up." Joke. 3 major cases were solved in 3 months. That definitely has the potential to become an ace agent. As long as she mentions it smoothly, Nick will pay special attention to it. When the time comes, you only need to investigate the interpersonal relationship and family background. If there are no problems, you can be promoted smoothly. "Thank you, Natasha." Lu Cheng gently kissed the Black Widow. "Then let me test you again." The Black Widow smiled softly. "Really?" Lu Cheng helped his waist. "Scared? Why, I am a humanoid pile driver." The big bed in the bedroom began to rattle again. The next day, after drinking a cup of oatmeal and milk, Lu Cheng went to S.H.I.E.L.D's Trident headquarters with dark circles under his eyes. The headquarters here is located in the central area of Washington, the capital of M country. However, this headquarters is just an office area. Most of the black technology and top secret information are located in different locations. Now S.H.I.E.L.D., secret bases are spread all over the world. After passing the entrance guard, Liu Cheng came to the office lobby on the first floor. This is a collective office, with documents and telephones on the desk, ready to go out for support at any time. But Cheng Liu has already received special treatment from Natasha. For these 3 months, he can solve the case patiently without being dispatched. Just, how can we solve 3 major cases in 3 months? Liu Cheng rubbed his eyebrows, his face hurt. He is just a technical man, who knows nothing about solving crimes. However, there is no way out now, I can only think of a solution patiently. The system will definitely not publish tasks that I can't complete, there must be something I can use. Just, what can I use? Liu Cheng thought silently. A black widow started, he had already used it up. Thinking of the madness last night, his waist started to hurt again. A woman who has undergone a special transformation, although her posture is changeable, she can't see the bottom. It's not enough to be fed at all. If it weren't for Liu Cheng to pretend to sleep last, it would be a question of whether he could come to work today. Snapped. Liu Cheng slapped himself, it was this time, and he still wondered what all these messes were doing. Mean. Calming down, Liu Cheng realized that there seemed to be other things that he could use. That is my own witty brain. He is half a Marvel fan. Although he was forced to retreat by the weird comics, the Marvel-related movies have been watched without fail. He still remembered the rough plot clearly. Yes, there are so many villains in Marvel, if you pick a few out at random, they are all big cases. Liu Cheng's eyes lit up and he found a little direction to solve the case. It's April 2008, let me think about what cases can be solved in this period. Liu Cheng put his chin on, thinking carefully. A moment later, he showed a constipation expression. Fuck, sorry, I'm a fake fan. When I watched Marvel movies, I just looked at special effects and called 666. Completely ignored the point in time. Even, he has forgotten what most villains look like. I only know that there is a villain Rocky played by Do Sen, the son of Odin, who was thrown around by the Hulk and mocked as a weak god. Just, remember, this seems to be useless. No, I am thinking in the wrong direction. I should start with the members of the Avengers. The growth of these people is accompanied by villains. This is what I need to pay attention to. Let me think about who is in the Avengers: Captain America, Iron Man, Black Widow, Hulk, Thor, and the Soy Sauce Party. At this point in time, Captain America is still frozen in the North Pole, the Hulk has not been radiated, and Thor is still a prince in Asgard. It seems that the only thing that can be used is Iron Man. Liu Cheng pulls his silk and pulls the cocoon, he can be regarded as finding Hwadian. He remembered that Iron Man was born in 2008. Also, in my memory, there seems to be no information that Tony Stark has become Iron Man. Could it be that Tony Stark hasn't been kidnapped yet? Liu Cheng's eyes lit up. If this is the case, it would be a big case to be able to contact Iron Man in advance and then rescue him from the kidnapping case. After all, Tony Stark is now the chairman of Stark Industries. Assets are as high as $100 billion. His arms business has a pivotal position all over the world. Thinking of this, Liu Cheng hurriedly turned on the computer and checked relevant information about Stark Industries. He knew that the future Iron Man is a now. If it's not a beauty, it's harder to see him than to climb to the sky. You have to make some preparations in advance. However, as soon as Liu Cheng turned on the computer, he was attracted by the New York Times broadcast on the wall. Hello everyone, let's announce a news urgently. According to the news from our reporter in the Middle East, Tony Stark, the chairman of Stark Industries, was attacked by KBFZ yesterday. The more than 20 soldiers of the M country on the 3 military vehicles that accompanied them were all killed in action. The bodies have been brought back to the army, but the body of Tony Stark has not been found yet. At present, no relevant organization has come forward to claim responsibility for this attack. Our station will continue to follow this incident, so stay tuned for follow-up related reports. Liu Cheng watched the news broadcast on the wall, and he froze in place. In his heart, 10,000 grass and mud horses galloped past. WDNMD. Just found a little clue and was ruthlessly destroyed like this. Although he knew that Stark would be safe and sound in this kidnapping case, and even transformed into Iron Man. But, what use is this? He, like everyone else, can't find the specific location where Stark was kidnapped. Saw the case flew away, Liu Cheng was a little bit eager to cry without tears. We can only see if we can get a big case with Iron Man in the follow-up. Liu Cheng sighed. He knew that after Tony returned, he would fight a high-level villain of the company in a desperate contest in Manhattan. If you can participate in it in advance and solve this case, it will be considered a great achievement, right? Hey, Liu, take a look. I'll just say, this dude will get retribution for my goddess sooner or later. Just as Liu Cheng was thinking about it, a black man in a work suit came over. This black man is a tall horse, with muscular knots, like a hill. Looks a bit like O'Neal in the NBA. However, black people tend to blind people, and they look the same anyway. Liu Cheng looked at the black man in front of him, and a person's name suddenly appeared in his mind. Mike Tolson. An old name can be compared with Zhang Kuihua and Chen Ergu of China. However, this Mike can be regarded as his best friend. We have carried guns together, wounded together, divided the spoils together, and prostituted together. The 4 major irons of life are all occupied. Liu Cheng didn't look up. Some people even the goddess all the time even if they die, and some people can't even be the goddess-licking dog even if they are alive. Mike furious, Liu, your analogy is like Aunt Susan's apple pie next door, it's terrible. Cheng Liu shrugged, Big Shark, you reading www.yuyuganshu.com you have to accept reality. Mike looked a little dissatisfied, how many times have I said, don't call me a big shark, do you know the fate of the woman who affects me? Liu Cheng nodded, okay, big shark. Mike snorted coldly, asshole, talk about you. I took the hot girl from the bureau and left last night, leaving me alone in the bar. Do you know how I lived? Liu Cheng curled his lips, you have to say thank you to your right hand, it helped you through a difficult night. Mike looked jealous, I swear, you must have missed that hot girl yesterday, right? She is such a superb, why would you be attracted to a small employee like you? Liu Cheng shook his head, and slapped mercilessly, she is very moist. Mike was struck by lightning, and everything suddenly felt dull. Liu Cheng got up and comforted, well, Mike, sometimes hands are not necessarily a bad thing, at least you can control the rhythm by yourself. Mike's face became worse. He snorted coldly, next, I'm afraid I won't even have time to use my hands. I just received a bizarre case. Now that the president of Stark Industries is missing again, it will really cause us trouble. Cheng Liu is a little curious, what bizarre case? Mike shakes his chest muscles, can you believe it, the night before, a lizard was fighting with a spider on the Williamsburg Bridge in Queens, and the bridge was almost torn down. Liu Cheng heard this, his eyes condensed suddenly, what did you say? P.S. Ask for a recommendation ticket list you have to hurry up to invest. Hey buddy, what are you excited about? Are you still interested in human and animal love? Mike teased. Liu Cheng ignored Mike's ridicule and directly grabbed the file in his hand, give me Kong Kong. Mike saw that Liu Cheng was so serious, he said, well, I admit that what I just said was a bit exaggerated. To be honest, the lizard is indeed a big lizard, but the spider seems to be a human in tights. Liu Cheng took Mike's words into ears, and his eyes were completely attracted by the document. It is a detailed record of what happened on the Williamsburg Bridge in Queens last night. There are pictures and the truth. In the picture, an ugly-looking lizard is walking on the bridge unscrupulously. The car was deformed by it. This large lizard is more than 2 meters tall, is green all over, and has a long tail, but its face is faintly human. Lizardman who is alive. In other pictures, a human wearing a spider tights was shot flying around on the bridge. Of course, pictures of lizardman and spiderman fighting are indispensable. It is easy to see from the picture that the Spider-Man seems to be fighting the Lizard-Man to protect humans. I wipe, what is this, chaos? Liu Cheng looked at the picture in his hand, somewhat speechless. This coquettish red tights, apart from the humble, there is only Spider-Man. But, shouldn't it? This Marvel Universe, since there is a widow sister starring Scarlet, it should be related to the Avengers. Spider-Man in the Avengers, but the Dutch brother starred. With a good reputation, the Dutch brother also made several independent films about Spider-Man. However, this Lizardman is clearly a plot in The Amazing Spider-Man, and has nothing to do with the Marvel Universe where Avengers is located. Even if there is a connection, this timeline is wrong, right? Forget it, it doesn't make sense to entangle this. After all, the Marvel Universe doesn't know how many times it has restarted. This level of chaos is still acceptable. Liu Cheng quickly accepted this setting. After all, although the system arranges Scarlet's version of Black Widow, it doesn't make it clear that this is the Marvel Universe in Avengers. Even if there are mutants, it is expected. Of course. There should be no mutants in this world. If there were any, special departments like Liu Cheng already had relevant records and news. Take a step back and say, this can be regarded as a benefit arranged for me by the system, right? Liu Cheng touched his chin. Although he has almost forgotten the plot of The Amazing Spider-Man, he still has some impression of the villain Lizardman. As long as he can help Spider-Man catch the Lizardman, it can be considered a big case solved, right? Even if you don't solve the case, it's comfortable to see Spider-Man in Queens and get one of his abilities at random. The little spider is no better than the Black Widow, this one is capable of mutation. The really poor rely on the representatives of mutation. Getting any of his abilities is a matter of making money without losing money. Liu, after looking so carefully, have you found any clues? Seeing that Liu Cheng had been meditating and silent, Mike couldn't help but elbow Liu Cheng twice. Stop pretending to be an expert. You can't see a woman's cup through your clothes. Do you want to see who this Spider-Man is through your tights? Cheng Liu turned around and said, I really discovered an incredible secret, which can even help us get promoted, do you want to know? Mike nodded. Really fragrant. Liu Cheng, hey, call Dad. Dad, tell me quickly. Mike Hikari responded. Liu Cheng nodded, well, then you are not my own. Fuck you. Mike pointed his straight up. Liu Cheng felt comfortable, and stopped teasing Mike, and said, go, accompany me to Queens. Mike is infinitely powerful, comparable to a humanoid tank, and with him, it can be regarded as an extra helper. Moreover, the two have always been partners, and Liu Cheng has no reason to eat alone. Otherwise, I might be blackmailed by this stuff again. Mike snorted coldly, man, are you really planning to investigate the Lizardman case? Cheng Liu shrugged, just ask if you are going or not. Mike was a little embarrassed, and sighed, hey, but I promised Rose that I will accompany him to investigate another case later. Cheng Liu doesn't care, his name is Mike, what does it have to do with your big shark? Mike smiled slyly, well, I was successfully persuaded by you, but if I can't find any clues today, I will leave the breakfast to you this month. Liu Cheng didn't care, regardless of whether the investigation is a case or a woman, I will always be in my soul, okay? He now knows who the Lizardman is, and he is afraid that he can't find evidence. However, before I go to see the Lizardman, I still have to find the little spider to get an ability. This is an extra hole card. Then I will be Optimus One Pillar. Mike straightened his waist. He has been with Liu Cheng for many years and has also learned some basic idioms. What a strong man! Regardless of Bao's friend, he really opened his mouth. The two quickly walked out of the Trident headquarters, found the Infiniti QX50 parked at the door, and drove in the direction of Queens. 3 hours later, the two dressed in black suits and sunglasses, standing in front of a high school. Mike pulled down a little sunglasses, looked at the students coming and going, and said, "So, what are we doing in this high school? Don't you think that the lizard people are hiding in this school?" Liu Cheng said lightly, "No, I'm here to find Spider-Man." While he was in the car, he used the SHIELD system to find out where Peter Parker was in high school. Mike showed a look of surprise. "Liu, do you know who the Spider-Man is? How did you do it?" Liu Cheng glanced at Mike. "Want to know? Call it Dad." Mike is dissatisfied. "Liu, you are too much. I treat you as a brother, but you have always wanted to be my father. Honestly, are you obsessed with role-playing with hot girls?" Said, he skillfully covered his ass. "I can tell you, I don't have any special hobbies." Liu Cheng was too lazy to pay attention to Mike. After showing his ID to the guard, he walked straight to the campus. Mike hurriedly followed aside and started talking. "Actually, I have dreamed of being a superhero since I was a kid, just like a Superman wearing underwear. I really didn't expect that there are superpowers in our world." You reading www.yuyugonshu.com. Do you know how surprised I was when I saw this news? Hey, Liu, do you think the times have changed, and will such superpowers appear in droves in the future? If this is the case, then we may be busy. Liu Cheng wanted to tell him that in the future, not only will there be a large number of superpowers, but also aliens will invade. The style of painting in this world will soon change. Mike's mouth is comparable to Xiaojian. Even if Liu Cheng ignores him, he still talks endlessly. "Liu, is this Spider-Man a student or a teacher? I don't know if I can ask him for an autograph later. It would be nice if he was a girl, maybe we can still make a little spark." However, looking at the figure of the tights, it is a pity that this is a man in all likelihood. Liu Cheng looked at Mike. "Actually, you can also be a hero. I even thought about your nickname." Mike showed expectation and showed off his muscles. "What is the name?" "I think the name of the Guardian of Muscle Tyrants is not bad." Liu Cheng curled his lips. "How about the 3-second man or the Moutman?" Mike. In the chat room between the two, they soon came to a teaching building. Just as Liu Cheng was about to enter the teaching building, he paused slightly. A pair of young people came to meet each other. One of them looks handsome, wearing a polo shirt, looking a little cute. The other is a dark-skinned fat man wearing a loose coat. Liu Cheng looked at the cute young man in front of him, and pursed his lips. "This setting, what do you want to make? P.S. The big guys have recommended votes, don't forget to vote." Liu Cheng looked at the slightly dull handsome guy in front of him, and the corners of his mouth twitched. Dutch brother. The Spider-Man actor in the Avengers. What kind of trouble is the system? This is forced grafting. If readers were to see this situation, they would definitely have to say, "Spicy chicken author, adapt it at will, you want to apologize to the people of the whole country." However, Liu Cheng didn't care. He has seen 3 versions of Spider-Man, and he has a good impression of the Dutch version of Spider-Man. Although the old version of Spider-Man is classic, it has achieved the classic saying of "the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility." It's really licking the dog. The green tea who doesn't know how many hands has passed, the hostess is fascinated by Spider-Man. In the end, although I successfully licked the heroine, how can I think about it? As for the version of The Amazing Spider-Man, although it died midway, it was actually shot well. The only thing that was uncomfortable was that the heroine died in the end. Of course. These have nothing to do with Liu Cheng. He only needs one of Spider-Man's abilities now. "Hey, why aren't you leaving? Mike stopped and looked at Liu Cheng with some doubts. Found it. Liu Cheng said. Mike quickly turned around and looked around. Where? Liu Cheng ignored Mike, went straight to the little spider and showed his ID. Hello, Peter, I am an employee of the National Land Strategic Defense Attack and Logistics Security Bureau, I want to ask you to know something. Little spider looked at Liu Cheng wary, and said, anything. The little fat man beside him also spoke, 2 officers, we are just students, but we have never done any illegal activities. Liu Cheng glanced at the little fat guy, and knew that this guy was a partner of Little Spider. Specializes in helping the spider search for police signals, and then provide the coordinates for the spider to deal with the criminals. Can be said to be the man behind Spider-Man. Thinking about it this way, the Dutch version of Spider-Man seems to be a bit miserable. Other Spider-Man have goddesses, but this Spider-Man has only friends. Is still a fat man who can't wear women's clothing. Liu Cheng smiled, don't be nervous, just ask a few words, Peter, can you have a chat alone? Little Spider thought for a while, and nodded, okay, but I may not be able to stay too long. I will have to go out soon. Liu Cheng nodded, it won't take you too much time. Little Spider tilted his head and said a few words with his companion Fatty, and then came to a corner with Liu Cheng. When Mike saw this, he quickly followed. His sturdy body like a hill naturally attracted the attention of the little spider. Liu Cheng said, introduce myself, my name is Liu Cheng, and this one next to me is my partner, whose name is Mike. After Liu Cheng finished introducing, Mike couldn't wait to speak. Liu, is this little Zhengtai the Spider-Man from last night? Hey, he looks so tender. Hearing Mike's words, little spider's face suddenly changed. Liu Cheng timely patted the little spider on the shoulder, and said, don't be afraid, we are not good people. We are not malicious. The moment he touched the little spider, a message flashed in front of his eyes. Discover available abilities: super power, super fast speed, super hearing, spider induction, adsorption capacity, cobweb jet. Looking at the abilities in front of him, Liu Chen's eyes flickered, and he said silently, draw. In an instant, the cursor began to flash back and forth between the various abilities. Finally, I fixed on one of the abilities. Cobweb jet. Liu Cheng only felt that his body had changed a little, and his blood seemed to have become more viscous. He knew that if he wanted to, he could spray a special white sticky substance from his wrist. Is the spider web? Of course. This spider web can be controlled as he wants. Can be large or small, long or short. Little spider looked at Liu Cheng and both of them panicked. I don't understand what you guys say, if it's okay, I'm leaving. Is just a high school student after all, and there is no way to manage facial expressions. S face revealed everything. Mike is also a veteran interrogator. Seeing Peter's expression, he was surprised. Hey, the Spider-Man was really you last night. I didn't expect that the hero who saved the citizens of Country M turned out to be a kid. However, at the Queen's District Police Station, it seems that they don't want to eat you, and they are still vowing to arrest you. Little Spider has been arresting criminals before the police. Although this has reduced the crime rate in Queens a lot, it also highlights the incompetence of the police from the side. Therefore, the police naturally treat the little spider as a criminal. Peter denies, I think you may have found the wrong person. Liu Cheng pursed his lips and said, listen, Peter, Mike and I came here for the Williamsburg Bridge case last night. We need your help. The movement made by the lizardman yesterday is not yet a big case. Therefore, Liu Cheng has to force the lizardman to do things again. Then he will come forward to solve it. However, with him and Mike alone, it may be difficult to control the development of the situation. Has to rely on the power of Spider-Man. Liu Cheng looked at Peter. Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com said lightly, it doesn't matter if you don't admit it, we can still ask your chubby classmate again. I think he would be happy to tell us the truth. Peter frowned. What do you want to do? Don't bother my classmates. Xiao Pang has been silently supporting him behind his back, which is his motivation to punish and eliminate evil. He naturally didn't want Xiao Pang to be implicated because of his own affairs. Liu Cheng showed a gentle smile. Our purpose is actually the same as you, to get the lizardman out. Peter opened the mouth and said, although I fought the lizard man the night before, I don't know who he is. Although Mike had guessed Peter's identity, he was still excited when he heard Peter admit it himself. Hey, Lu, he admits that he is the Spider-Man from last night. Tusk, superpower, really enviable. By the way, is your superpower born or acquired? How does it feel to save the world? Liu Cheng glanced at Mike with an idiot look, and the latter stopped talking immediately. Cheng Liu said, from the pictures and videos of the night before yesterday, it can be seen that this lizardman should have been specially mutated from humans, and has just mutated, so there is no way to fully control his body. There seems to be only a few companies in New York where conditions allow humans to be transformed into heterogeneous biological companies, and Osborn is the most. So, I plan to investigate from Osborn. I remember there seems to be an authoritative PhD in biology. Peter reacted and lost his voice. You mean, Dr. Connors? When Liu Cheng heard the little spider's words, the corners of his mouth cocked slightly. He said this deliberately, just to take the little spider's thoughts in the direction of Connors. Connors, also known as Dr. Lizard, is the lizardman who made a lot of noise yesterday. He also appeared as a villain in The Amazing Spider-Man 1. This guy is also a very talented person. Focuses on studying cross-species genetics. In other words, it is to allow humans to possess certain biological characteristics. For example, the tail of a gecko can be regenerated. If the genetic and transcription factors in it are extracted, humans may be able to regenerate with a severed arm. There are other diseases, such as Parkinson's disease, and a cure can also be found in zebrafish. Harry Osborn, the second-generation green magician, took a fancy to Connors's ability and hired him to work in the company. I want to make him research a medicine to treat his genetic disease. It's a pity that Harry's condition is getting worse and worse, and he can't wait for Connors to conduct human experiments. So, in order for Connors to speed up the progress, he sent his men to urge and threaten him. Connors had no choice but to risk using himself to do human experiments. Although the potion played a role and successfully allowed him to grow his right arm, it also infected his mind and body. Turned him into a lizard man with a grumpy character. Finally, he even wanted to use a special equipment from Osborn to create a cloud of drugs covering the entire New York. Tried in vain to infect the entire people of New York. Of course, the conspiracy must have been destroyed by the little spider in the end. A typical story of a hero saving the world. Speaking of it, the fame of the little spider is really attributable to Osborn Corporation. This company is almost a villain from top to bottom. From the chairman of the Green Devil, to Dr. Lizard, Dr. Octopus, Diane Guangman, etc. Without them, the little spider hasn't grown up so quickly. Liu Cheng looked at the little spider and nodded, yes, the first target I'm looking for is him. The little spider frowned and frowned. Although Dr. Connors has done research on this gene, it is not yet at the stage of human experimentation. It is impossible for people to mutate into a lizardman. Mike patted Little Spider on the shoulder. Little Spider, you have to know that the human heart is sinister. I caught a transnational drug dealer before. Can you think of his identity as an ordinary high school chemistry teacher? The little spider stretched his lips. Well, I happen to be going to Dr. Connors' laboratory too. I will take you there. Liu Cheng naturally would not refuse, and nodded in agreement. After bidding farewell to Xiao Peng and the spider, they sat on the Infiniti of Liu Cheng and went straight to Connors' laboratory. In the car, Mike listened to the song and said, Hey, Peter, does anyone in your school know that you are silently saving the world behind your back? Little Spider was blushed by Mike's praise. and responded, except for Nide, no one else knows. Also, I just do something I can, not saving the world. Mike smiled slyly, poor little guy, don't leave a name for good deeds, how can you get the favor of girls like this? Are you still the first brother? Otherwise, you come to our company, what about being my little brother, I will introduce you to the hot girl, the three of us can still make a combination. After thinking about it, he looked at Liu Cheng and said, Liu, you have a smart mind. Tell me, what is the name of our group? Liu Cheng glanced at Mike, how about calling the Superman 2 group? Mike doubted, isn't it okay to call the Superman group directly, why add a 2? Liu Cheng said lightly, because you are here. Also, Mike, I have to remind you that you have to rely on your own hands, and introduce hot girls to others, so save it. Mike annoyed, asshole, if you hadn't eaten alone every time, I would have evolved into Shen Gong Bao. Shen Gong Bao is a term that Mike learned from Liu Cheng. He is like most people, the first thing he learns when learning a foreign language is sorrow and swear words. Liu Cheng shook his head, no, you will at best evolve into a Miao Renfen. Little Spider sits aside, trembling as he listens to Mike and Liu Cheng stumbling each other. He has secretly regretted in his heart, he seems to have gotten into a thief car. Half an hour later, the three came to an industrial park in the heart of Queens. Connor's laboratory is located in a remote location in the north of the industrial park. Mike revealed his identity to the guard. After he was released, he followed the instructions of the little spider and quickly drove into the front of Connor's laboratory. Mike looked at Liu Cheng and said, should I go directly in, or what? Cheng Liu shrugged, it's just a routine inquiry, are you still going to ambush? Said, he pushed the door and got out of the car. The three people came to the door of the laboratory, where there seems to be an entrance guard. Little Spider took out the card from his pocket and swiped it in. Walked through the hallway and soon came to an independent studio. This studio is about 100 square feet, very spacious. Inside are a number of work tables with various instruments on them. However, the laboratory is empty at the moment, without a single figure. Mike looked around and spread his hands, are we here at an untimely time? Liu Cheng looked at the little spider and said, Peter, do you have a call from Professor Connors, give him a call and ask him to come to the laboratory. Okay. The little spider nodded. However, before he took out the phone, a figure walked in from outside, who are you? My laboratory always prohibits outsiders from entering. The little spider turned his head and looked at the figure who walked in, a bit embarrassed, Professor Connors, they are. However, he didn't seem to remember the full name of Shield, so he could only look at Liu Cheng like a help. Liu Cheng stepped forward and showed his credentials, hello, Dr. Connors, we are employees of the Bureau of National Land Strategic Defense Attacks and Logistics Support. We are investigating the Williamsburg Bridge case last night. I hope you can cooperate. While speaking, he was also examining the Dr. Connors in front of him. He looks in his 40s, wearing a grey coat, with a stable face and sparse hair. The most striking thing about is his right hand, which is empty and obviously amputated. Dr. Connors frowned upon hearing Liu Cheng's words, what does this have to do with me? Liu Cheng said, we guess that the lizardman last night was made of a human gene mutation. The entire Queens area, you can be regarded as the top authority in genetics, and this type of research is currently underway, so we need to conduct a systematic investigation of you. Connor's eyes flicker, although I am doing this kind of research, there is still a long way to go before human experiments. Mike doesn't care, who knows what the brain circuits of your group of scientists are like? Maybe you have any bold ideas, maybe you secretly conduct human experiments. Hearing this, Connors looked furious, you can belittle my skills, but you can't belittle my personality, immature medicine, I will never use it on others. Liu Cheng said, I'm sorry, Professor Connors, this colleague of mine has always owed his mouth, and he has no intentions. Paused, then he continued, let's talk about your genetic research this time. If we can, we might have to take away some of the medicine for testing. Connors directly refused, I can cooperate with your investigation, but the genetic medicine developed this time is my painstaking effort for many years, and I will not give it to anyone. Lu Cheng Tan Tan Xiao, if this is the case, maybe we will send someone to follow up in your laboratory later, and hope that the professor can cooperate. Connor's eyes flickered, and there was no answer. Cheng Lu didn't care about so much. He found a place to sit down and took out his notebook to conduct basic inquiries with Connors. After 15 minutes, the inquiry is over. Lu Cheng stood up and said, okay, let's stop here, thank you Professor for your cooperation. Connors also stood up and made a look of seeing off the guests, yes, I still have some projects to study, so I won't leave you too much. Lu Cheng didn't stay too much, and left Connor's laboratory with Mike and Little Spider. Can stay in the car. Mike is incomprehensible, Lu, is it over like this? How do I feel that this professor seems to have something wrong, should we follow up and investigate? This guy is also good at interrogation, and it is easy to notice Connor's unnatural look when he was questioned just now. Lu Cheng smiled, I just talked to him just now, just to give him a sense of oppression. If he really has a problem, do you think he will do something? Mike's eyes lit up, let me just say it, then we can just wait for him to get the bait. Lu Cheng said, well, you reading www.yuyuganshu.com, let's go first, I have put a small tracker on him, don't worry about losing it. Said, he turned on the phone and entered a special software. Above is a map, and there is a red dot flickering, which is the location of the Connors laboratory in the industrial park. This small tracker is a black technology invented by SHIELD, which can be attached to human skin for remote positioning. Mike smiled, Lu, you really have you deserve to be a quick shooter. I didn't even see when you put the tracker on him. Cheng Lu shrugged, not comparable to your unicorn arm. Little Spider opened his mouth and said, two sirs, how do I feel that you have identified the professor as the messenger behind the scenes? Mike patted Little Spider on the shoulder, and said earnestly, Little Spider, this is the sixth sense of a man. You are still a first-time brother, so you don't understand. You will understand after you and the girl Lu Cheng rolled his eyes, don't listen to his nonsense, we just looked at Professor Connor's performance and thought he was suspicious, so we just did some testing. As for whether this professor is related to Lizardman, there should be an answer soon. The group quickly left the industrial park, parked the car in a remote corner, and slowly waited until night falls. Lu Cheng looked at the map on the phone, his eyes flickered, moved. P.S. I ask for the support of the recommendation ticket list. This is really important for balloons. Also, the book is short and has been released, and the contract should be sent tomorrow. Those who want to invest hurry up. Ha, I haven't moved, this hot girl is moving. Mike opened his eyes drowsy. He wiped the remaining saliva from the corner of his mouth, still in a daze. Lu Cheng was very calm, and said, stop dreaming, Connors is out. Mike then reacted and said excitedly, is this guy finally coming out? These scientists are so perverted that they can stay in a closed space for so long. Said, he started the car, took out his phone, and opened the map. There is a red dot moving on it, which is exactly where Connors is. Hey, this guy didn't come out from the front door, and ran in the other direction. Mike looked at the location of the red dot on the map, with a hint of surprise in his eyes. This made him more convinced that the professor has a problem. Normal people, who walked through the back door, is not a base. Lu Cheng said, well, follow it slowly, I'll call and let the little spider come over. Peter is still a high school student after all and has his own studies to be busy. Naturally, it is impossible to watch them here all the time. Hey, there is a little spider to help, this wave is stable. Mike blew his whistle, stepped on the accelerator, and pursued the red dot. He also has a very good track record, just hanging from the rear of the car, so that it will not make people suspicious. Followed Connor's car around a small half of Queens. The time has come around 1 o'clock in the evening. Mike held the steering wheel and couldn't help but vomit. I swear, this guy is the best man I have ever seen. Liu Cheng smiled, it looks like you are looking for a red light district. Mike. During the chat between the two, the position of the red dot on the map finally stopped moving. Mike hurriedly parked the car aside and said, this guy finally stopped, let's catch up. Cheng Liu shrugged, don't worry, let him run for a while. He knew that Dr. Connors should have gone to the sewer to do research and record. There is a small tracker, so there is no need to worry about him running away. Wait until the little spider comes over. At the speed of a small spider, it shouldn't take long for the spider silk to fall from the sky. Mike stared at the red dot on the phone for a while, then stared and said, hey, Liu, this guy doesn't move anymore, shouldn't he really go to see the lady? Liu Cheng curled his lips, then are you going to fight pornography? Mike shrugged, it's not my responsibility. Besides, it's not easy for other professors. It's rare to relax. Let's wait for him to finish before looking for him. It won't take a few minutes anyway. Liu Cheng shook his head, and stopped talking. He knew that Professor Connors should have found a remote sewer to record the experiment. Now, I'm probably working hard as a porter, carrying experimental equipment. 10 minutes later. The little spider finally fell from the sky wearing a coquettish red tights. Mike exclaimed when he saw it, ah, tights, Sao Nian, my idol, tomorrow I will wear a green tights to partner with you, it's cool to think about it. Liu Cheng said, then what should I call you, Hulk? Mike looks dissatisfied. Liu, Three's Con Man and the Hulk are the only brain-dead names that you can think of, right? Liu Cheng was a little speechless. He really hopes Mike will have the opportunity to say this in front of the Hulk in the future. Little Spider was wearing a red tights, but without the restraint of the morning, he said, hey, two sirs, stop chatting, where is the doctor now? Liu Cheng stopped talking nonsense, and said, follow me. The three of them walked forward according to the location of the red dot on the map on the phone. Soon, he came to an empty alley. Mike glanced at the phone, frowned and said, hey? The red dot is displayed in this area, how can there be no one? Should you hide in some place to play field battles, right? Cheng Liu pointed to the ground, it should be below. Mike stared, you mean the sewer? This professor doesn't have such a heavy taste, right? The little spider tilted her head, and a series of question marks appeared on her head. Hey, two sirs, what are you talking about? I think we should find the doctor as soon as possible, and don't let him accidentally. Little Spider and Professor Connors seemed to have something to do with each other. Seeing Connors disappear for no reason, his tone seemed a little anxious. Liu Cheng calmly walked to a manhole cover and flipped it up, go down and look for it. Soon, the group leaned on the stairs and entered the sewer. The air here is filled with a smell of sour rot and humidity. Smells a bit disgusting. Liu Cheng glanced at the phone and found that the red dot was only a kilometer away from him. Mike opened his mouth and said, this guy, there must be a problem with running such a disgusting sewer at night. Liu Cheng whispered, be careful, don't be stunned. Cautiously walked forward along the sewer, turned a corner, and came to a platform full of pipes. The water flows out from the pipe and flows into the drain. It's just ahead. Mike glanced at the phone and said in a low voice. At this time, his expression also became serious, and he no longer had the hippie smile as before. Mike has always been very clear about priorities. This is also one of the reasons why Liu Cheng is willing to bring him over. Walked a few hundred meters further, and the three of them came to a corner. Little Spider quickly made a gesture and motioned to Liu Cheng and Liu Cheng to stop. The three stopped. Liu Cheng looked carefully. I saw an empty platform at the corner, on which various instruments and a folding table were placed. Professor Connors was standing at the folding table, speaking to the camera, as if he was recording something. Experimental subject, Curtis Connors. Real-time temperature, UU reading www.uugonshu.com 89.7 degrees Fahrenheit. The condition has been stable for the past 48 hours, and there has been no significant fluctuation in the readings of blood lymphocytes and monocytes. Blood coagulation increased significantly, and muscle responsiveness, strength, and elasticity were significantly improved. Connors took off his glasses and continued, the vision has also changed significantly, and the subject no longer needs corrective lenses. This is not only the scope of curing diseases, it means that my experiments can make human beings perfect. However, the previous news has already been watched by the authorities. I must speed up the progress and strive to get the drugs into use as soon as possible. Can't wait any longer. Now we will conduct the third test. In order to suppress the rebound phenomenon, the dose will be increased to 200 mg. Talking. He took out a needle from the table and injected it into his arm. The little spider naturally saw the situation, and his body trembled slightly. What is the professor doing? Liu Cheng whispered, is this unclear? He is experimenting with himself on humans. The lizard man from the night before is most likely to be him. Mike echoed, yes, serious people who play photography. The voice fell. Connors in front of him snorted painfully, his body gradually swelled. The skin became rocky, his palms turned into sharp claws, his legs became sturdy, and his back even grew a tail. The whole person directly grew to more than 2 meters high, and suddenly became the appearance of a lizardman. His pupils were greenish, and he sniffed lightly. Suddenly, he turned his head abruptly and looked in Liu Cheng's direction. Who? This guy is not a lizard, is it a dog? Mike murmured. They are at least 50 or 60 meters away from this Connors. This distance can still be found. Be careful. Liu Cheng suddenly raised his eyebrows. He had already discovered that the lizardman that Connors had turned into was madly running in their direction, extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of everyone. Liu Cheng did not panic too much, and while retreating, he drew the M1920 pistol from his waist. This is a special pistol made by Shield. The magazine can be loaded with 20 special bullets. Mike saw this, and he was in an unusually tacit understanding. He also retreated, drew his pistol, and pointed it at the front. It's a little spider, the art master is bold, so he rushes out. Roar! The lizardman gave a low growl, and slammed his fist towards the rushing little spider. The little spider dodges quickly with his agile figure. Then, a spider web shot out from his wrist, causing his body to turn 180 degrees, and he flew towards the lizardman with one kick. The lizardman stretched out his muscular left arm and directly blocked this foot. Soon, his right hand jerked out, grabbed the little spider's ankle, and slammed it. Boom! There was a loud noise. The little spider hit the wall directly, smashing the wall out of cobweb-like cracks, and the rubble fell slowly. The lizardman did not care about the little spider anymore, but looked at Liu Cheng and Mike not far away. You follow me. The cold words came from his mouth, which made people get goosebumps. Mike looked at the behemoth that was one head taller in front of him, and couldn't help swallowing. Hey, Professor, don't get excited, our guns don't have eyes. He really didn't expect that this professor was still a ruthless man, and even used himself to do human experiments. The green eyes of the lizardman flickered, ignoring Mike's admonition, and rushed towards the two of Liu Cheng. It looks like you are about to swallow 2 lives. Shoot! Liu Cheng said calmly. This is great America, no need to fire warning shots. If the prisoner does not cooperate, he can deal with it with a headshot directly. If there is a hostage in the prisoner's hand, he can kill the hostage first, and then kill the prisoner, doghead. Boom boom boom. For a time, the fire in the sewer was splashing. The dense bullets rained down at the lizardman. Although the lizardman was huge, his movements were extremely flexible, and he avoided most of the bullets. Even if a few shots hit his body, they only made his skin slightly sunken, and could not cause him any real damage. You bastards, I am thinking about the future of mankind again, why are you stopping me? As long as my experiment is successful, humans will possess unparalleled genes and get a completely new evolution. Talking. He had already arrived in front of Liu Cheng and Mike. He stretched his arms like a hill, and suddenly smashed towards Liu Cheng and Mike. Liu Cheng has already copied the fighting skills from Black Widow, and his skill is already extraordinary. Looking at the fists coming, he moved lightly and quickly avoided. However, he never thought of trying to cut the middle. After all, this lizardman can't even hurt him with bullets, even more impossible with ordinary punches and kicks. This is already inhuman power. Originally with Liu Cheng's skill, if he were in the world of Ip Man, it would be no problem to hit 10. Yes, this is Marvel. Has no special abilities, so he can only beat soy sauce. The other side. Mike is not so lucky. He is huge, and his movements are much slower than Liu Cheng. Seeing the huge fist hit, he could only be forced to make a counterattack. He roared, the hill-like body made a defensive posture, and his shoulders slammed forward. Tishan is near. Mike used his fame stunt. Once, he relied on this stunt to overturn a car that a criminal had just started. Is like a heifer sitting on a rocket awesome. However, this fame of fame was in front of the lizardman, but it was a little stranger. Just made the lizardman back up a few steps. Fuck. Mike is spitting fragrance. He just felt his shoulder hit a piece of steel, and it was painful. The lizardman looked down at Mike, raised his fan-like palm, and strangled his throat fiercely. Since you want to die, then I will fulfill you. Another hill-like fist of the lizardman slammed at Mike's head. Seeing that the fist was about to blast Mike's head, a spider web flew over from one side like lightning. Swish swish. The spider web is like a dart, and it touches the lizardman's fist on the wall in an instant. A trace of confusion flashed in the lizard man's eyes, and his other hand also subconsciously released Mike. Mike's face flushed and coughed a few times, then he rolled his body and quickly moved away from the lizardman. He looked at Liu Cheng, who was shooting a spider web from the side. His mouth was slightly opened, his face was incredible. Liu, when will you be superpowered too? Mike felt like he was about to split. He didn't expect that his partner, who had carried guns and prostitutes together, turned out to be a superpower. Dare to love the three people here, only you are the weakest? Liu Cheng spread his hands, his expression also a little helpless. When he was on the cutting edge just now, if he did it later, I'm afraid Mike's head would explode like a watermelon. However, Liu Cheng doesn't care about his ability to be exposed. After all, his ability to replicate Spider-Man will be used sooner or later. Can show a little more of one's own speciality, and can be reused by superiors. At this time, the little spider also flew from the side. That moment just now, but it made him choppy enough to let him relax now. He also looked at Liu Cheng and said, Sir Liu, why can you also spray cobwebs? He knew that he was bitten by a mutated spider. Reading www.yuyukanshu.com has acquired this special ability. Could it be that the officer in front of you was bitten by the same spider? Liu Cheng looked at the little spider, and said earnestly, Peter, to tell you, I'm actually your long-lost brother. Hey! The little spider was visibly startled. Cheng Liu shrugged, okay, just kidding, it's a long story about my ability, let's talk about it when the matter is resolved. Liu Cheng hasn't actually figured out how to explain it now. Can't you really say that you are the long-lost brother of Little Spider, right? Now medical testing is so developed. This reason is obviously too lame. Roar. At this moment, the lizardman not far away roared and flicked his arms, directly breaking free from the restraint of the spider web. He looked at the little spider in the coquettish tights and said, "Peter, it's you. Even you stopped me. This is a great experiment your parents have studied for a lifetime." His hearing is abnormally sharp now, so he can naturally hear the voice of the little spider. The little spider looked at the lizard humanely. "Dr. Connors, be more sober, the formula of this potion has not been balanced yet, and if you put it into use rashly, it will only become the way people are not ghosts or ghosts now." The lizard man spit out his tongue like a snake. "I feel stronger than ever, this evolution is so wonderful, you won't understand it." Paused, his fists clenched suddenly. "I will let people all over the country experience this wonderful feeling, but you won't see it anymore. Because you will all die here. P.S. If you think it's pretty good, please vote for a recommendation, thank you." The lizardman looked at Liu Cheng and the three coldly, as if to devour the three lives. Mike, who had just escaped from the dead, shuddered. "This guy has completely lost his mind, you have to be careful." The little spider coughed. "Sir Mike, you should be more careful, Chief Liu and I can take care of ourselves." Mike. Little spider's crit hit Mike's heart deeply. Made him petrify in place. Yeah, these two guys are superpowers, only themselves are weak. Be careful, it's yourself that is not holding back. Mike thought of this and suddenly wanted to cry. With the cold air, can this society get better? Both the white race and the yellow race have awakened their superpowers. When will they be able to awaken their superpowers as a black and truly stand up? Liu Cheng keenly noticed Mike's emotional changes, patted him on the shoulder, and said, "Don't mind." Mike looked at Liu Cheng a little moved. "Deserves to be a good brother, this time I still want to comfort myself." However, before I was moved, I heard Liu Cheng continue, "Just stand aside and say that Duan Rap encourages us. This is your racial talent." Mike's face turned black for an instant. "Get out. You guys, when I don't exist." Lizardman felt that he was being ignored, his fists were suddenly clenched, and he rushed towards Liu Cheng and the others. The huge body shook the floor of the sewer. "Little spider, I will attack his left, you attack his right," Liu Cheng said. "Receive." The little spider squatted down with his legs and leaned forward in a standard squat pose. The two were one after the other, facing the lizardman who rushed over. The lizard man looked at Liu Cheng, his expression ruthless. "You police officers, don't arrest criminals, but come to catch a savior who created a new future for mankind. It's damned." Without saying anything, he raised his fist and hammered at Liu Cheng. Although this lizardman has excellent physical strength and speed, his attack is very monotonous. Except for using fists, there is no other way to attack. However, this lizardman can't be blamed. After all, Marvel's setting is like this. Even the king of gods in Asgard, when they start a fight, they have to punch their fists honestly. Although the lizardman's attack method is monotonous, the fist is really hard. Blasted out with a punch, causing the air to make sonic booms. Liu Cheng gave full play to his fighting skills, his figure slightly to one side, escaped this powerful punch. Immediately, white cobwebs spurted from his wrist, covering the left hand and left foot of the lizardman. In an instant, he wrapped the lizard man half of his body like a zongzi. The movements of the little spider are also extremely sensitive. Cobwebs shot out from his hand, binding the lizardman's right body too. Roar! The lizardman roared, and his stature suddenly struggled. The huge power caused the spider webs on the body to burst quickly. "Go away, look at me." At this time, Mike moved his hill-like body, rushed towards the lizard man, leaning his shoulder. Used his stunt again, Tishan KO. This lean is simply the heifer angry, extremely urgent. Blast only heard a loud roar, and the lizardman fell directly to the ground. Liu Cheng and the little spider took this opportunity to quickly shoot out the spider web from their hands, sticking the lizardman to the ground. Instantly let him understand what binding is called. Mike looked at the lizardman who was struggling the ground, unable to move, and said, "Humph, don't think you are big, I can't knock you down, my stunt is not a joke." His words seemed to stimulate the lizardman. I saw his body struggle hard, his tail slammed on the ground. Click, click. The floor tiles were smashed in an instant, sinking into pieces. The lizardman's body also got rid of part of the shackles, and the sharp claws in his hands shook violently, tearing the cobweb tied to his body instantly. Fuck! Mike, who was approaching the lizardman, saw this, resolutely acknowledged, and quickly retreated. However, the lizardman just glanced at Liu Cheng and others, did not continue to attack, but jumped directly into the water and disappeared. "I'll go after it." The little spider has a sense of justice, how can he tolerate criminals running away from under his nose? Is about to follow and jump into the water. But Liu Cheng pulled him in time and said, "Don't chase, you may not be his opponent in the water." Liu Cheng is really telling the truth. In The Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man can't do the lizardman in the sewers. Was almost beaten to be called dad. Now that the little spider is chasing the lizardman, isn't it just rushing to deliver food? Of course. Liu Cheng stopped the little spider, in fact, he was selfish. He didn't intend to arrest the lizard man now. Even if the lizardman did not escape, he would take the opportunity to release the lizardman. Because the lizardmen are still making too little movement, it really doesn't make a big case. At least you have to wait for the lizardman to make trouble in the Queen's area before you solve it yourself before it can be considered a big case. Liu Cheng is now in contact with the lizardman, just wanting it to do it in advance. Otherwise, God knows how long he will delay. Liu Cheng wants to solve 3 major cases within 3 months, but there is no time to spend with him. After all, he does not have the time management ability of the time management masters Hixiong pile driver Luo. Dr. Connors's brain has been eroded by the medicine, and he is unconscious. I believe that under this stimulus, he will be allowed to do it in advance. Now, just wait patiently. Mike came over, looked at the rippling water surface, and spit, "Asshole, it's a pity that he almost died for the country," and he ran away. Liu Cheng said lightly, "It doesn't matter, this guy will definitely show up again." Liu Cheng, who had read the script in advance, said he did not panic at all. He knew that Dr. Connors wanted to allow humans to evolve. Reading www.yuugonshu.com. Therefore, he must use a machine capable of spraying clouds and mist from Osborne Industries to spread the drug throughout New York. Until then, no one can escape this pervasive cloud. The entire New York City will become a paradise for lizardmen. So, now I just need to hide in the base camp of Osborne Industries and wait for the lizard people to throw themselves into the trap. Mike opened his mouth and said, "Then what shall we do next? Just wait like this." Seeing the duck with its mouth flying away, Mike was really upset. Cheng Liu shrugged, "This has to ask the little spider." Now that the identity of Connors has been discovered, it is very likely that he will behave excessively in a short time. His goal is to make all human beings become lizardmen by the drug infection, and he seems to have planned for this. He looked at the little spider, "Do you know what equipment his laboratory has that can help him infect a large number of people in a short period of time?" Little spider is worthy of being a qualified tool man. After Liu Cheng's deliberate guidance, he quickly thought of something and said, "There is no such equipment in the doctor's laboratory, but I know that Osborne Industries has an equipment called Canary that can do this. As long as the machine is loaded with antigen, it can create a cloud of medicine covering a city. The doctor wants to infect a large number of people in a short time, and he will definitely go to Osborne Industries to this equipment." Liu Cheng snapped his fingers, then it will be easy. Now we only need to do 2 things to resolve this case smoothly. PS. I wish everyone who voted for the recommendation has a strong time management ability.